When I was in the military, there was an old adage, very commonly known adage that everybody often referred to, especially our higher ranked petty officers and officers used, that went, perception is reality. It was a commonly known axiom. And what it pertained to is that when a soldier or a sailor did something, even if it wasn't the absolute truth, when they were perceived to have done something, even if it wasn't the absolute truth, that's what they would be charged on or judged by, according to the Uniform Code of Military Justice, the UCMJ. How that pertains to marketing is this. You could have the highest skill in the world. You could have, you could be an absolute genius. You could have all of the knowledge in the world in your field. But as far as marketing is concerned, if you don't display that, people will never trust you. We live in a world today that's filled with snake oil salesmen and scam artists galore. I mean, there are scam artists so popular that they make movies out of them. Like there's this one French dude named Chicley or something like that. He's a world famous scam artist, and he's so famous that they're going to make a sequel about him. And then there's that one movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, Catch Me If You Can. So there's so many scam artists in the world. There's sort of a celebrity lifestyle to them if you reach a certain level of skill. And while that may seem funny on one end, it's actually terrible. So when it comes to marketing is concerned, everybody is concerned about whether or not they're being scammed. So you have to present yourself in a way that makes people see exactly who you are, even if, you know, for me, for example, I'm a terribly shy person, so I can barely look into the camera. Sometimes I have to look at you in order to do it, because you make me feel better. But I gotta produce videos, you know, in a way that brands me, because that way people can see what I look like, how my vocal tones. They can read my body language and see that I know what I'm doing. That your perception is your reality. And that's what I'm basically sculpting with this video and the content that we produce. How that ties into article marketing or marketing in general, content marketing in general for books, is that you are what you post online. All people see of you, or your brand name, your company name, your book, anything tied to your book, is what you post. And what they perceive is what you post, and what they perceive is their reality. And then that's a basic formula of deductive reasoning. If A equals B and B equals C, then A must equal C. So therefore, QED, if what you post, being A, you know, transferred all the way to C, equals your target audience's reality. What you post is your target audience's reality. So that's a really big problem with that's too often neglected in the current generation of writers, that they don't actually think about their internet presence so much. But they might post, they might, you know, have a Twitter page and all that, but they don't actually think about, they don't actually strategize, they don't take an analytical approach to what they post online with an actual objective. They just post this, they post that randomly. It's very, my mentor called it, what was the word he used? Disparate. Not desperate, but disparate with an I. And it's very scattered, and it's hard to categorize. But when you post with a point, then branding or influencing people's reality becomes a skill, and that can be used for greater goods or greater evils. And that's what, you know, the whole problem with mainstream media is today. But how that applies to writing is that writers are what they post, and they should be very, very aware that their target audience's perception is their reality. How often you should post? Well, really every day, multiple times a day, if you want to keep up with the big dogs. You know, big post, you know, like for example, smartinsights.com or really any major high-ranking website out there for any subject, any niche at all imaginable. They post multimedia content, like videos, articles, and they post it not only just every day, but multiple times a day, like the Young Turks, or I could rattle off a whole list of them, in different industries, different categories, different subjects. And to roll with them, you can't take any shortcuts if you want to be mainstream first page Google and to be taken seriously with hundreds of thousands of followers. However, if you don't have a team, if you don't have the budgeting, because a lot of writers are just, they're, single sole proprietors, and they don't have a large team to work with. They don't have millions of dollars. Most of them are just self-published authors, and they work regular full-time jobs, and they're just trying to write either as a hobby that they're trying to make a little money from, and they don't have a lot of money to work with. So it's not like a writer can write these extremely long, extensive treatises every single day. You're not your average writer anyway, and then pay for graphic design and videography and to continually post this. I mean, they would have to work almost full-time, if not full-time, or if not overtime, to develop all the content that they need to even stand a prayer against the big dogs posting on the first pages of Google. However, that does not mean that simply because an independent author who doesn't have a huge team, they can't find their own niche, and it doesn't mean that you need a whole bunch of money to develop a good following on the internet. You don't. You just need to find out what works for you. There are different schools of going about doing that. You'll find a lot of marketers online presenting themselves as if they're complete gurus, and they're absolute masters of their craft, and they know everything and you know nothing, and their way is the one right, their way is the one true way. It's almost like religion in a way, and their way is the one true way, and their followers subscribe to their method, but then often they find that one method doesn't work for them. They'll find that they're struggling, when in fact they shouldn't be focusing on what that one marketer that they admire is doing. What they should be doing is taking what works from that individual marketer that they admire, what works for them, almost in the same way that Bruce Lee created Jeet Kune Do. He took what worked from a whole bunch of different martial arts styles and then just created his own. Right? Same thing with independent authors today trying to market themselves on the internet. They shouldn't just take what I'm saying as the gospel. They shouldn't take what Seth Godin is saying as the gospel. They shouldn't take what Derek Halpern or any of the marketers that have a visual presence online are saying as the gospel of what works and what doesn't work. Because truly, what works for one person may not work for another, because we all have individual strengths and weaknesses. We all have our different cards to play. And we develop our own styles accordingly. So what I recommend that people do is find out what works for them, be honest, analyze their own strengths and weaknesses, and either, if you have the money, then yeah, hire a team to support you. That's always a plus, like with what Tenka has. But if you can't, then find your niche, do what you can, and just keep posting as often as possible, as high quality as possible, and push yourself. Develop the discipline you need to brand yourself with good content strategically that influences or shapes how people behold you, which determines their reality about the reality of their opinion about you.